Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's early and I'm up making my money. What's up? Good morning, y'all. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? As you can see from this title, I was driving, right? I was driving this morning and I was like, man, courting seems like it's a lost art in today's society. And I remember I posted a video and I was talking about like how the men were saying how they were kind of like turned off by how the women dressed in the gyms. And one of the sisters was like, I wonder if men even like women anymore. And then later that week, a YouTube creator, a Christian YouTube creator that's married, he made a video and he said in his video, like, men are more concerned about building a brotherhood or being with their male friends than they are about courting women or being with a woman. And I was like, this was a couple months ago, and I was like, wow, like that is true. Like you will see men, they will hang out with their friends for, like hours on end. And he explained that part of that is because things are just easier. Like when you're hanging out with a guy or when guys are hanging out, it's just a whole lot easier, right? But he says at the same time, you should be wanting to be around a woman. You should want to be able to be with a woman and stuff like that. And I was just driving and I was like, hold on, y'all. My bad, guys. My bad. My bad. I was about to go on the road, but you know, sometimes you gotta just take a pause and realize now it is early. Please don't get in my comments. Please don't get in the chat talking about how early it is. If it's too early for you, come back another time when you're up, okay? Elvira's up right now, okay? But the conversation today is courting dead or am I delusional? I was driving this morning and my mind just went to this topic. So let's just start over and say, hi, I'm Elvira and welcome to EFP Media. If you're new here in this space, we talk about faith, wellness, journaling, through the lens of womanhood, growth, accountability, and walking with God. Today's live is a personal and a reflective conversation I've been having with myself about courting and how to court. Hey, I'm 777. So I've just been having this conversation with myself, not many others. Many of my sisters are married and they are, you know, a lot of all of my friends are married. And or have been married and they're older than me, or if they are my age, they're very new in their marriage. But when you think about it, both generations, my generation and in the generations of older than me, those men of those generations, like my friends that have husbands, their husbands grew up in like, like the 90s and the 80s where like Men courted women. Men did things for women. Men were showing women like, hey, I am the best pick. You need to pick me. You need to hang out. Like, I need to be the one you pick. Okay. I'm the strongest. I'm the smartest. I'm the richest or the most financially stable. I can build things. I can build you a house. I could do this for you. I could do that for you. Like, those were the men that in 2025 are really, really hard to find. Okay. So as I talk to my sisters, and of course, like, the goal is to be, or desire to, be courted for marriage and things like that. But today it just feels like that is a lost art. It's like, is courting dead, or am I delusional? Um, in today's culture, it feels like the intentional pursuit of a woman is fading. And what I was saying before I went away, and I have my notes here to keep me on track because I can definitely kind of go off on a tangent with this topic, but it feels like it's a lost art today. It's like, you know, men aren't really pursuing a woman in a way to show and prove himself to her that you should pick me. I feel like, now I'm a woman. You're not going to agree. First of all, I'm a woman, if you don't know that. But as a woman, and wanting to desire to be courted and being courted properly, you know, you have to show me anyway, let me speak for myself, that you should be chosen. Like, I just want to put that out there, right? So if any of the other sisters feel that way, definitely jump in the comments and let me know. But the point of it is definitely having that conversation where you're like, okay, because first of all, men have very fragile egos, very fragile egos. Men cannot handle the truth of, if a woman was to be courted by different men, right? Most women would say, I wouldn't do that. Most women would say, I don't mind, to each his own. Just because you're being courted by someone doesn't mean that that woman is, laying down with each one of them, right? That's not even what we're talking about within our faith, right? So let's just keep it clean, okay? If you're not aware, I'm a Christian, I'm in holiness, and I don't believe in fornication anymore. Let's be clear for somebody try to come for me. But the point is that I don't see men doing that anymore. And where I was going was that lately it's been a huge uprise in, men choosing to hang out with men more than they hang out with women. And I understand that when men hang out with other men, it's just easier. But if you're a heterosexual male, you're going to want that feminine energy around you in some way that's not a relative, right? You're going to want that feminine voice, conversation, the femininity. You're going to want that. You're going to be craving that. So when I see so many men in this generation focusing on a brotherhood more than focusing on building a family and finding a wife, it concerns me. So that's what I was thinking about today. I was like, why intentional pursuit feels rare. You don't often see men going up to women anymore saying, hey, how are you? Granted, we got the internet, right? But there are signs and gestures that a woman will show you that she's interested. And it's interesting that men don't do that. And I know society and social media has kind of ruined that for a lot of women. Many of us are like, you somebody sees you out and they just stare a hole in your face. Even if you smile and you give a gesture, they don't say anything. And that can be really challenging for a woman, because you're like, okay, do you like me? Or like, what are you looking at? Is there something on my face? Do I have something in my nose? Like, what's going on? Is my hair sticking up? Is my lock pointing up? Like, what's the problem? But he's just admiring you, right? So courting used to mean something. Courting used to be a place where granddaddy was showing grandma that I'm the best pick of the litter. I'm the biggest. I'm the toughest. I'm the smartest. I'm the richest. I'm going to take care of you. Okay? Where I was going with is that the men of my generation grew up in the 90s, grew up in the 80s. They seen even men in the 80s and the 90s courting women, doing things like, providing, showing this woman like, hey, I'm the best pick. You pick me, pick me. But now you have women becoming pick me's. You have the woman becoming pick me's now. And things are so diluted that it's scary. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna talk about that, because I do see the uprise in men really like focusing on other men more than they are focusing on women. And if you're a husband, for one, your attention should be on your family anyway. But if you're single and your desire is to become a husband, then you should be investing more time in, you know, allowing God to guide you to your wife, but also, you know, investing in that time of attracting your wife, or showing the potential woman that you want, that you are pursuing her for that case, right? So that's where my mind went. In the past, I felt like courting meant preparation, it meant purpose, it meant a man had a vision, he was moving towards a life of like legacy, love, and leadership. And now it just feels like we're just stuck in a loop of, passive text messages, DMs, you know, endless talking stages. Like, we're just talking for hours and nothing is being done, nothing is being said. And, it's so sad. It's so sad. And it's like, some men want access to women with no accountability, no type of affection, no type of alignment. Like, you want access to her, but you have to prove to her that you deserve that access. The pursuance is that men pursue the woman. He that finds a wife finds a good thing. So you are the pursuer. If I want something, I'm not letting it go. You feel me? So I don't know. That's such a good topic. And I know it's early, so many of my sisters are asleep, but they probably gonna get down to these comments. And y'all brothers probably gonna try to have some opposing thought as well, and that's fine. But I feel like now courting isn't a thing. It's more about convenience. It's more about, hey, do we, it's like, if you're building with someone, of course, you're going to have conversations that kind of are jarring, right? You're going to be like, ooh, because when you're in the courting phase, it's not to be asking each other, what's your favorite color, where you like to eat at. Like, though those things are valuable at its right timing, it's not necessary. The questions that you need to ask are, what are your upbringings like? What do you have siblings? If so, what's your relationship like with your siblings? Are your parents, what was your childhood like with your parents? Were they in the same household? Things like that, right? So the next part is that what I do see the men doing is building, focusing so much of their energy. Not that it's a bad thing. It's nothing wrong about, having, your friends and your male friends and stuff like that. But this part may be tough for me to say, but it's worth saying that a lot of men today are emotionally fulfilled by their friend groups. And that's that is it has its place, but it shouldn't be the end all be all. You shouldn't get so much fulfillment from talking to, if you're a heterosexual male, you shouldn't get so much fulfillment by talking to other men. And like I said, it all has its place. I'm not going to the extreme. I'm just saying that men of today would rather, go out to dinner with their men friends. Like even the men of the world, like when you look at men, you see men in sections at the club, right? You'll see a group of men and there's no women in there. You'll see a group of men taking a bros trip to the cabins. You see a group of men going out to lunch and dinner, and it's nothing wrong with that. But the point that I'm making is that that is happening way more than men are investing their time in pursuing women. More men are spending a lot of time on the phone with each other than they are spending time on the phone with a woman. Like, I'm a woman, right? It's typical for me to get on the phone and cat with my homegirl. That is who I'm supposed to be cacking with. So I don't be burdensome to my husband when I want to talk. I go talk about stuff that happened to me I talk about to my husband about the main things, the main things. But with my friends, my girlfriends, I talk about the chit chatter, and there's a separation there. And unfortunately, that's just something that it is what it is. Like, people may say, well, that's not fair, but I didn't make the rules. Okay, I'm just living by them. So I feel like they're more loyal to their brotherhood than they are to the woman that they want or the women in their lives, and that is scary. That is very scary. And like I said, but when it comes to a woman, the men of today, they fall short. They really do. There's no planning, there's no pursuit, there's no spiritual covering. It's just, wow. Like, I watch stuff like Pop the Balloon. I watch stuff like Kendra G singles. This is not just my personal experience in the life. This is me looking at the social norms, the relationships. It's bad enough we're online, people are online talking and arguing about social things. Like, I mean, not social things, I'm sorry. People are online, arguing about gender wars. It's a gender war online, and this is how it's manifesting. And it's sad. It's really sad that, the women of today that are truly looking for a God-fearing husband have to experience this. And it's not just in, the worldly world. It's in your faith as well. Unfortunately, but it is what it is. Um, you know, I feel like a godly pursuit will look like consistency, clarity, covering, intentionality, and fruits of the spirit. A man who is, constantly showing up, spending time, investing time, intentionally reaching out to you, you know, putting you, not to say first, but you're a priority, right? Casual interest looks like confusion, inconsistency, empty promises, flattery with no follow up, avoidance, not, and then it's just so, it's so many things I want to say, but I don't want to come off offensive, but it's just like, man, y'all, as a single sister, it has been one of the toughest things I've ever experienced. Um, One of the toughest things I've ever experienced, because though you want a God-fearing man, sometimes they can be a little bit too, rigid, to the point where, can we just talk about, regular conversation, to the point where if I say, hey, I got a headache, well, like, then they throwing up scripture and stuff, and how how the Lord delivered them from a headache 2 years ago. And it's just like, oh my goodness, it's just so, it is burdensome. And I was doing my DoorDash orders this morning, and I was just like, man, wow, this what we got. This what we got. And see, I'm a 90s girl. I was born in the 90s. I was raised in the 90s and 2000s. And in that era, you had the love, like, you actually had R&B music. You had R&B groups, Jagged Edge, you had men singing songs to women about how much they love them and I want you and all the things they would do, right? So that's why I said I might be a little delusional. I might be a little delulu. Good morning, Tanya. I might be a little delusional, right? Because I'm looking at it as, you know, I'm looking for a man to be like, you what I want, don't, no, none of these, no. I don't want you looking at nobody else, because that is what you are asking. When you ask to pursue a woman, or when you're asking to court a woman, you are asking her to choose you over everybody else. What makes you the best over everybody else? That is what you're supposed to be proving. Because if you chose her, it's something about her that you have interest in, right? So for all of my sisters out there, this video is for you. Okay, I see y'all. I'm not gonna call the sister by name, but she did mention, if she watches this, she knows. She mentioned, she said, I don't think men like women anymore. And this was months ago when she said this. This was last month. It ain't that long ago, but this was last month. She said, I don't think men like women anymore. And that's sad, man. That's sad that the women don't know if y'all like them anymore. That's sad, y'all. The women don't know if y'all like them anymore. Do y'all like the women anymore? That's what the sis said. So maybe we're delusional, because we don't know if y'all like women anymore. Y'all get on the phones with your brothers. Y'all go on trips with your brothers. Y'all go out to get lunch with your brothers. We don't know what you want anymore, you know? So I just want to share with the sisters, that was just a thought of mine. Like I said, I know everybody is not going to agree with what I've said today. That's fine. I mean, when you put your thoughts out there, you're asking for the opinions of others. But, and one thing, somebody may, so I want to pose a question to you guys. Do you feel like a woman should have to say to a man, like, hey, I noticed that you, um, I don't know if you're like, I see you're investing a lot of time in this area with with your friends. Okay, say for instance, in society today, right? A male has his group of male friends, and then he's pursuing a woman, right? Should a woman go to the man and say, like, hey, I see that you are spending a lot of time with your, like, your friends. Why you don't spend that? Why you don't invest that same time into me? Or, you know, me personally, I don't think a woman should even have to say that. I don't think a woman should have to say that. You guys let me know. Do you think a woman should have to say that? Because if I gotta tell you and I'm not, this is not me, but I'm just speaking. If I have to tell a brother or a male in general that I feel like you invest more time in your brothers or in your male friends and then you do me, I think that I shouldn't have to say that. You said WWW, men have woken up and we have clearly realized what makes the market, especially in North America, has to offer. The juice is usually not worth the squeeze. Yeah, you can go there with an opposing thought. So the conversation is this, Wishbone. The conversation is this: when you find a woman that you want, okay, this is not talking about you mindlessly dating. This is not talking about you pursuing everything that walks. But when you find a woman that you want, and you are in the courting phase, meaning that you've checked her out, you like what you see or whatever, and you decide to pursue and court this woman, at what point do you say, okay, I want to be intentional with her, and I'm not, and like there has to be a balance. Not saying that you can't have your male friends, but if you are more likely to go out with your male friends than to hang out with the woman that you're pursuing, or if you are more than likely to get on the phone with your male friends than you are to get on the phone with a woman that you're pursuing, that's an imbalance there. And that's what the conversation is about. The conversation isn't about, choosing the wrong woman. If you keep choosing women that are for the streets, then that's a reflection of your the script, like how you choose. But when you find a good woman and you choose her and you're pursuing her, my question is, should a woman bring it to a man's attention like, hey, you spend a lot of time in this area than you do pursuing me? Is she supposed to say something? Because I don't think she should say anything. I don't think she should have to say anything. And I think that society today is just really, really, it's just really, I feel for the sisters. I do. I don't think it's going to be for me. I honestly, like, I don't think it's for me, y'all. And this is for my sisters. This is for my sisters. Hey, Shelly. This is for my sisters. This is for my sisters that are want a relationship and stuff like that. Should you know I'm no sister want a man that's more invested in his male friends than he is into her. Like my friends who are married, that's my age, that are married, I barely get to talk to them. Because first of all, they have small children, they have young children, and they're tending to the things of their husband, right? My friends who are older than me, 40, 50, and 60s, those that are married, yes, I have friends that are 60. Those who are married, it is them who have a little bit more flexibility because their children are older and their husbands, they're kind of seasoned in their marriage. So they're not all like googly eyes with their, they still, of course, they love their husband, but their relationship isn't as fresh and new. So it got some grass underneath his feet. So it's like, their husband's not caring about them being on the phone. And so, but my friends who's in their 30s that have husbands, child, I don't see them. I don't see them or them kids. So that but I understand and I respect that, because when I get married, y'all not gonna see me. Y'all not gonna see me. Tanya Bond said it's hard and I gave up. Listen, I never want to give up on the Lord, but honestly, Tanya Bond, I feel you on that. For real, for real. Shelly said, if a man looks in the mirror longer than I don't want him. Okay. If you more concerned about if the barber lined you up all right. Now, ain't nothing wrong with wanting to make sure you look nice, right? But what Shelly is implying is that you don't need to be prettier than me. Okay. So that's another thing. And please, like I keep saying this because I know somebody is gonna take this the wrong way. But I feel like men are gonna take this like, oh, I'm not saying you can't have a brotherhood or a group of friends. And I'm not just speaking about in the faith, okay? I'm talking about in general, male and females, males have their bros, so it's not saying that you can't have your bros, but if you are more likely to hang out with your bros than you are to hang out with a woman you're pursuing, I don't know. I don't know. That's just questionable. That's all I'm saying. Because the woman is gonna feel like, well, dang, he's always with his friends. And honestly, y'all, I don't want to go there with the comment, but that could be a red flag. It can be a red flag. I think masculine men want to be around a feminine woman. They do. Alfonso, hey, oh, you're welcome, Shelly. Alfonso told Tanya Bond to date out. And Alfonso Morris says, I want to get married, but marriage isn't valued. I have two childhood friends who have been married since their early 20s, and they kind of want to be in the street fornicating. Alfonso, I don't know what to say. That's crazy. Now, one thing I will say is that women, when you get married, now I'm gonna get on y'all now. Now I'm about to get into y'all ladies. Now, no, I'm not married, but marriage is not a ticket to let yourself go. Marriage is not a ticket to decline your man. Marriage is not a ticket to get up here and let yourself go. Okay? Marriage is not a ticket for that. Okay? Marriage is not a ticket for that. Trust me, the man that met you, like if I meet a man today like this, okay, guess what that man gonna do? He gonna size me up and he say, okay, now let me add on about 70 pounds on her if she gets pregnant with my babies, right? I want to marry this woman. What's she gonna look like? 70 pounds heavier when she get pregnant with my babies, right? Okay, she 5'11", she got some height on her. All right, the weight gonna fall pretty good. All right, she'll be all right. She gonna be all right, 70 pounds more, right? But if I go into my marriage 70 pounds more, and then the man gonna have to add 70 pounds on top of that. Now, if that's not what he not into, okay, that's gonna be a problem, right? That's gonna be a problem. Now, there are men like all shapes and sizes. But what I'm saying is that what he said, a lot of that falls on complacency. And sometimes complacency can come in so many different ways. Legend, you can turn the TV on. Just close this door. Thank you. Complacency can come in a lot of different ways. So it's when you get into a marriage, you get complacent, you get bored, and you just feel like, okay, He got me. He got me now. I don't have to do anything else. No, sweetie, you do. You got to keep it up. If a man met me like this, granted, I might gain 70 and I might lose 40 of it, but I still got an extra 30 on me. Okay? Look, you're going to have to work with me, hubby. Especially if I'm 34. I'll be 35 in October. So I'm pretty much 35 right now. Listen, if I get blessed with a husband and I have a child, we're going to have another one back to back. So I'm not going to have time in between. Good morning, Jamon. I'm not going to have time in between to lose the 70 that I lost or gain 70, lose 80, and then get another baby. No, but what my husband will have to understand is that the woman's body is different, and the older the woman gets, the things start to slow down for us. So all I'm saying, that's really sad, Alfonso. I'm sorry your friends want to be in the street fornicating after becoming a husband, but at the end of the day, I just feel like, women, you have to hold yourselves accountable for keeping yourself together in your weight management, your mental health, your physical health. And I know it can be overwhelming trying to keep all of those things afloat, but please note, men are visual creatures. Granted, there's going to be times when things are going to fluctuate. Even if I did, so say for instance, if I got in a marriage and I gained 70 pounds, do I want my husband to see me looking crazy every day? If I was a stay-at-home mom, do I want my husband to be looking at me with a bonnet on my head always covered, and walking around in rags all day? No, I want to look pretty. Even if I feel like I'm as big as a house right now, I just want to put on something pretty, put on my favorite head wrap, put on my favorite, like anything, and just look pretty for my husband. I think sometimes, women, we can get a little complacent in that area. And I'm so sorry. Me, I take marriage serious, Alfonso. And for y'all that just came in, Alfonso said, I want to get married, but marriage isn't valued. I have two childhood friends who have been married since their early 20s, and they kind of want to be in the street fornicating. Now, we don't know how old Alfonso is, but at the point that he's making is that when you have someone who gets married early in their 20s, first of all, y'all, the body that I had in my 20s is not the body I got today. Okay. So when I was in my 20s, I was skinny. Okay. I was slim. I wasn't weirdo skinny. Like, I wasn't like, oh, she can eat a burger. No, I was just skinny. Like, I didn't have curves. Okay. The older that I got, the more my body started to keep the weight on. Your metabolism slows down, your body keeps the weight on. Okay. So once I got to like my 30s, my body started looking like a 30-year-old body. Okay. So with that being said, if you marry somebody in their 20s, I'm not sure how old Alfonso is, 10 years later, that person is not going to be the same person. And we can't just hold the woman accountable for that either. And yes, ladies, I know the men need to keep themselves up too, but we're not supposed to be marrying men because they cute. The man, that ain't our job. We don't care about them being cute. We want to know, can you provide, protect, have provision, and it's something else. Purpose. That's what we want. We don't want you looking like the bottom of a shoe, but can you provide, protect, have purpose and provision? Can you do that? Everything else we can work with. You want him to be something that you can look at, but we're not worrying about a man looking cute. That's you. You supposed to be cute. That's what Sister Shelly was saying. Shelly said, I don't want him. If a man looks in the mirror longer than I don't want him. So she's saying if a man look in the mirror longer than her, she don't want him. That's what Shelly is saying. She's supposed to be the one that's cute, not him. She's supposed to be the one in the mirror, fluffing her hair and checking out, making sure she look good. You know what I mean? That's what Shelly's saying. But some Alfonso, I'm gonna go ahead on to the next thing because I done sat on this a little too long, and I probably done said some things I ain't supposed to say, so my bad. Wishbone says, as a man gets older, he does not need to court a woman to know whether she's the right caliber. That's very true. That's very true. He will usually be able to know within the same day or in many cases within a few minutes. That is very true. And Wishbone, that's such a true statement because you men know. That's why I'm not playing. People may say, oh, you're being a little too rough, Elvira. No, I'm not. A man knows. A man knows if that's the one for him. A man knows if that's the one he wants. He knows. He does not have to sit around and think about it. Oh, let me think about it. Is that what I want? He ain't got to do that. It's us that be doing it. It's the woman that do that. Men don't do that. Men be like, they sit back, they watch. Because first of all, before he even says something to you, he been watching you. So before he even comes towards you and pursue you, and then he has a couple of conversations with you, he knows if he wants you or not. So don't even get into that, I don't know if he want me. He wants you. All right. Now, do he want you to marry you? Do he want you to court you? Or do he just thinks that, you know what, this is a convenience little situation right here. I'm going to fill this out and drag my feet. So heck oh, yo, I don't play those games when people be like, he may not know. Oh, he know. Alfonso just proved to us. I mean, not Alfonso, Wishbone. And I think Wishbone is a male. I'm not sure, but Wishbone says, as a man gets older, he does not need to court a woman to know whether she's the right caliber. He usually will be able to know within the same day or in many cases within a few minutes. Now, what this is saying to me is that the man knows. Now that the man, sadly, now that the man knows, it's his responsibility to convince her that he's the one. Because he knows he wants her. Now it's his job to say, I want you. I'm going to show you that I want you. So you're right. He doesn't need to court her to realize if he wants her. The courting is to convince her to want him. That's the point. It's not to tell her. It's not for him to figure it out. He already know. He wants her to say, wow, he's the pick of the litter. He's the biggest pup. What? He's the big dog. What? And not just in her life, right? That's how he wants her to view him. So once he decides that she's the one, then he goes and he proves to her to choose him. Hey, Tony, Nixon, that is. So it's his job to prove to her that, hey, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick number 3, my lord. Pick me. That's what he's supposed to be doing, not her. Ladies, let me tell you, sister, something. Wishbone just proved that, okay? Wishbone just proved that. But the point is that, listen, you see, if you are intentionally dating, sisters, and I don't want to use the word dating, but if you are truly wanting to be married, you're young, especially if you're in your 20s, okay? This is my advice for you. No matter your body type, no matter your shape, your height, or whatever, keep yourself up. If you're a curvy girl, keep yourself up. If you're a slim girl, keep yourself up. If you a fitness girl, keep yourself up. Whatever that means for you, however that works for you, keep yourself up. Every time you walk out of that door, look your best, okay? Look your best, smell your best, be your best, okay? Because you never know. You might meet your husband walking to the store. You might meet your husband at the mailbox. You might meet your husband at the line in the at Whole Foods. You just never know. So always look your best, no matter what. And guess what? After you get that man and he marry you, you still look your best, okay? Look your best, okay? But the point is, don't wait around. That comment is proof. A man knows if he wants you or not. And if he's lacking in the pursuance of you, if he's not convincing you, he's not the one for you. It's just that simple. Don't waste your time trying to figure out, I don't know if he likes me. He don't. If you got to think, I don't know if he likes me, he don't. He don't. It just is what it is. Wishbone just proved my point. Moving on to the next thing. Alfonso said, yeah, I was surprised too. We graduated in '03. Oh, okay. So you're a little older than me. They got married early and had their kids early. I stayed single. They've been married 15 years plus. We had a reunion last year. I was kind of disappointed they were saying all of that to me. You want to know why? Because it probably got a little boring. And that's what marriage does. That's why sometimes, you have to have something for yourself. You have to have something for yourself to kind of just be like, other hobbies and stuff that kind of keeps it going. Women if a woman graduated in 2003, she's probably like close to maybe like 38, 39. So, and I'm sorry if I'm off on my math. I ain't a mathematician. So y'all help me out a little bit. But she's probably approaching 40. If she got married that early, she probably did one of the things, both of them, not just the woman, both of them probably has gotten a little complacent. And that's natural. That happens in marriage. Around this part of the marriage, I hear a lot of testimonies of things like this happening. Sometimes the bed gets a little cold, and the reason why is because when you have a lot of kids, your kids occupy a lot of your time. You got Saturday practice, weekly school days. Both of the parents work. Kids got to go to practice. Kids got to go pick up. Kids got to do so much, right? So a lot of times it's the schedules are busy. By the time you get to 8, 9 o'clock at night, you've been up since 6, 7 in the morning, 5 in the morning. Sometimes you're tired. You ain't got that much time at night to spend. And then again, you got to wait for your kids to go to sleep before you even, so it's just like so many elements in a marriage can cause the men to, especially that, because you said, Alfonso, that they wish they were in the streets fornicating, and that just means that the bed pretty much my interpretation of that is that the bed went cold. And if the bed went cold, that's because maybe sometimes women, a lot of times, it could be a lot. It could be a lot. So yeah, that's sad, but hopefully, Alfonso, you'll marry a woman, and you guys can talk about things like this. Talk about, conversations, real conversations with what her expectations would be in a marriage. How often would she want to do this, that, and the third. So have those conversations up front, so that way you can know what you're getting. And yeah, you might choose her, like Wishbone said, you might choose her, but kind of learn more like, okay, so, because let me tell you something, if you want to have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 kids, what you gonna do when them kids is between the ages of 5 and 10 or more than that? Yeah, if you have a child every year for 5 years, and you got kids between 5 and 10 and 11, and they're in sports, they're doing this, you doing that, you're going this, your wife is tired. She's running up and down the road, taking this one to practice, this one here, this one there. Like, it's a lot, and sometimes that can put a lot on the body. And at night she ready to go to bed. Last thing she talking about is something else. But you know, I'm sorry that happened. That's just my take on it. I'm not a relationship guru. I'm just speaking from experience and what I hear. Shelly said, I found out most men seem to like those big women, and I don't have a chance. Well, men have their preferences. Men have their preferences, and that's okay. There's men out there that like them a little short, slim thing. Okay, there's men out there that like them. All shapes and sizes are loved. Okay, so if that ain't for you, boo, it's okay. There's somebody out there for you. Good morning. I am doing well, Jamon. You said blessings. Are you going live on Facebook today? He didn't answer you. And then he said, Jamon says, I think a man needs to be 30 and up before he marry a woman. 18 to 29, he don't know which way is up for the most part. Yeah, and then you have some that, you know, just don't have that guidance. I do believe a man in his 30s, maybe like close to between 30, 35, he's pretty much, you know, seasoned. He done had his fun. He done been out there. He done, you know, did what he wanted to do. So with that being said, I understand that wholeheartedly. I just think he should definitely take his time, in getting to take his time in getting married. I recommend that for anybody. I'm glad I didn't get married early, because I don't know if I would be still married to this day, or if I would marry the man that God has for me. And that's one of the things too, guys. Like, being in alignment with God and submitting to God as a woman, ladies. You know, I made a year being baptized. June 23rd, 25 was my 1 year birthday of being reborn again, right? And one of the hardest things for me is submitting unto God and trusting in Him and all of His, all of His, and all of Him, trusting in the unknown. That's one of the hardest things to do. And what that means is believing Him. So while you may have the desire to be, married and things like that, and you don't want to be out here just courting and being courted by any and everybody. Don't say yes to any and everybody. You could always say like, hey, no problem, we can get to know each other and see if courtship is potentially a thing. Now, for me, I will say, and I can safely say, I have not been courted. But there have been situations where I was getting to know someone and courtship was not a thing. Courtship did not become a thing, right? And that's okay. You could say that you're, getting to know someone, just filling them out, becoming friends. And then from there, if you both decide to be courted, then that is the pursuance of someone saying like, okay, I want to convince this woman that she needs to choose me. And even if if a man knows, because like Wishbone said, a man knows, right? So ladies, if a man is like reaching out to you, communicating with you, that could be a sign that he's interested. However, don't let that be just passive communication, right? He should be intentionally pursuing you. The point of me saying all of this is that don't forget about God in all of this. Don't turn your windshield wipers off because you think it done stopped raining, right? Just keep your eyes open, be aware, be alert, and keep God at the forefront. Your relationship with God should always be first. Even for the men, when it comes to choosing a woman, discerning a woman, choose God first, because God is always going to lead you to the right part of the right point of your life, or when it comes to that part of your life. The reason why I said that is because if God had his hands on my life, right? Because I could have been married. I could have been married twice by now. I could have been married twice. And each time there was an interference of life happening. And, sometimes I get a little sad. I'm like, dang, I could have, been a wife by now. I could have my home by now. I could have me a nice old house and everything. But I have to remind myself that when God is involved, that, what he has for me will always be. And he's not, nothing has passed me by. I just have to be patient and wait. So I want to share that too. Like, while we are talking about courtship, and while we are talking about relationships, I do want to encourage everyone to keep God first. Don't allow, the world to convince you otherwise, okay? Know that your relationship with the Most High is important, and keep that first. Seek first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all of these things will be added unto you. When you keep God first, he is going to guide you, and the right man or woman is just going to appear unto you. Don't allow people to tell you anything different, because people are going to tell you, oh, please. Yeah, you want to know what? When people do that, they're doubting God. And God always instructs us to believe in him. So I believe that what he has for me is going to show up and pop up, hi. And I'm like, oh, hi, so always believe. Hi, go, y'all. You said, why you saying watching you like that? We not creeping around the corner. Oh, no, nobody's creeping around the corner, right? But trust me, they be watching. Y'all be watching. Shelly says my ex-spouse would get his hair done, but didn't want me to, and he would say, wash it yourself. Wash it yourself now. I felt he wanted to look good, but didn't want any other man looking like a beauty. I guess you meant your husband. So basically, Shelly is saying her husband would invest time into him getting his hair cut, but he wouldn't want her to get her own hair done, and tell her to get her hair done, do her hair herself, so he could be the one looking good. Ooh, child. Hey, Tony Nixon. Any gems you can drop with us, Tony Nixon? Shelly House said, one thing I will say, if I do get married again, no man 10 to 15 years older than me, because I have a young mind. Even through AARP says I'm a senior and proud. Even through AARP, right? AARP, right? You are hilarious. Yes, Tanya, look good, smell good, feel good. Exactly. Exactly. Shelly said men should remember that just because you're married, no means no. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Good part. Good thing. That's very true. Um, Shelly said, I was 40 when I got married, and when the judge told me to say my vows, I started coughing for over a minute until my sister told me to stop. She knew I didn't want another invading my space. Wow. Jaman said, got to start working, sister. Thank you for your words and time sharing with us. God bless you. And I pray that you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Travelers says, be very careful with these church sisters. Yeah, be very careful with the church sisters. Be very careful in general. Travelers, are you telling men to be careful with women in the church? What are you saying? Shelly says to Tony Nixon, sometimes we can be sick and tired if people forget that. What did he say? Oh, that's a good point. He said, Tony Nixon says, be willing to adjust because what you want in your 20s will change in your 40s. Exactly. And that's what I think Alfonso's friends are going through. Because they got married, you know, straight out of high school in their 20s. And, you know, like Tony Nixon said, what you want in your 20s will change in your 40s. That's why, ladies, y'all need to be worrying about how cute a man is. Why we worrying about how cute he is? You want him to be something that you want to look at, but you don't need to be worrying about, is he cute? Could he grace the cover of GQ? We don't care about that. Does he protect, provide, have a purpose, and has provision? Does he have those 4 P's? Can he protect you? Can he provide for you? Does he have a purpose for himself? And does he have provision for that purpose that's going to have him to provide for you, which is going to lead him? And protecting you should be a natural instinct in him. It all flows. So that's what we need to be worried about. So when he look good in his 20s, don't be worried about don't worry about if he cute or not. We don't care. He could be something you can look at, but we don't worry about if he can grace the cover of GQ. We don't care about that. Okay? So that's one thing. I see a lot of the young girls, you know, wanting to be in, you know, relationships with guys that are cute. Child, please. Traveler says, when you find a wife, you find someone that love you. Men stop running for women that don't care for you. That is very true. If she, yes, it's just that simple. You know when a woman don't really like you like that. And if she tells you, that's just go on to the next thing, bruh. Darnell said, what's your opinion on age gaps? I think once you hit like your 20s, I think age gaps are okay. But for me personally, I'm in my 30s. I would date 10 years older. But that's a little it for me. Because if I go any older than that, then I'm going into my parents' age bracket. No. I can't date. I won't date like younger than 10 years younger than me. Absolutely not. Dating a 24-year-old. Absolutely not. But if I'm 34 and he's 30, 31, that'll be okay. But if I'm 34 and he 23, 24, 25, 26, no. That's how age gaps work for me. When it comes to other people, I could care less. I could care less when it comes to other people. But when it comes to me, that's what I'm working with. That's the age gap I'm in. You know, that's what I'm working on. Shelly tells blessings. I feel it goes both ways. Men and women aren't taking church seriously. They come looking for a hookup. Yeah, some people do. Some people do. They do. And then you don't want to be dating everybody in the church. My goodness. But this conversation has been good, guys. We've been on live for an hour and 3 minutes. Any closing remarks? Have you guys subscribed to my channel? Oh, Wishbone, you still up in here? You said, other than a man being God fearing, do you have any other objectives? If he protects and provides, is he going to get a submissive and cooperative woman in return? Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, First of all, well, I mean, not see, because me even coming out like, well, first of all, but no, this is a little sassy. But no, that's something that submission comes with respect, right? So, me personally, out of my respect for a man, I will naturally submit to him. So a man has to earn respect, right? It's not just given. We got common courtesy that we give to everybody out in the street, but respect is something that's earned, not given, right? So with that earned respect, he does get a submissive wife. So yes, for me, but like I said, I'm not gonna lie. For me, though I am a God fearing woman, I am still working on my my flaws and who I used to be, and becoming a more submissive woman by submitting unto God. You know, that's something that I have to work on. That's something that I'm still working on, because I was raised by an independent, strong black woman. But I've never ran with that narrative, right? But I was raised by an independent, strong black woman, and I have strong black women in my family. And a lot of the women in my family are, type A personalities. So I was around this. So I have to untrain my brain in a lot of those ways. I am a single mother, so I do make a lot of decisions in my life, and I don't have to contribute. I don't have to talk about it amongst other people, right? So that submission part of me, I have to feel that I can trust this guy. He's emotionally stable enough for me. He has stability in general. And then also that he is someone who has a purpose, a vision, has provision, can provide, can protect, all of those things. For me to kind of just, sit, like our sister Paulette say, sit in your seat. I want to sit in my seat, but I have to know that the person that is taking care of things is taking care of things, and doesn't necessarily need me to do the thinking for him. So Wishbone said, other than a man being God fearing, do you have any objectives? If he protects and provides, is he going to get a submissive and cooperative woman in return? And the answer is yes. Yes, he will. Um, but then again, it sounds nice, doesn't it? But I've never experienced that yet. So it is what it is. Tony Nixon says, one thing for the woman is to be a wife before marriage so he can find a wife, not a woman or a girl. Very true, Tony Nixon. That is very, very true. Find a wife. A woman has to be a wife before her husband shows up, right? But when we look at the Proverbs 31 woman, she had a lot going on. She wasn't just sitting around on her feet, just looking pretty all day. She was out there working, grinding, getting things done. Um, and that is very much, very, very true, Tony Nixon, to make sure that women are, being a wife first. And because we're always striving in our relationship with God, and always striving to do the right thing, don't look for a woman to be perfect. Don't look for a woman to never have anything to say. Don't look for a woman to just be quiet. Don't look for a woman that's all you always want her to be meek and have a quiet spirit. That's unrealistic. In a perfect world, you know. The four P's, let's say you say a man has three out of four P's. We can work with that. Let's say maybe all the four P's aren't at 100%. Maybe he got 10% over here, 20% over there, 80% in providing, and then 10% in provision, 50% in purpose, and then another 80% in protecting. We can work with it. At least he got something. But you have 0% in a purpose. You have 0% in providing. So if you see a woman trying and striving to develop a meek and quiet spirit, if you see a woman trying to, be submissive, to work on those traits, first of all, it's hard to work on something you can't practice. You gotta practice. And if you don't got nothing to practice with, what you gonna do? It's easy to backslide. Let me stop. Backslide is not the right word to use, but you get where I'm going. Thank you, Tanya Bond. Y'all please like the video. Shelly said, we must remember the grass is not always greener on the other side of the fence. Just talk with your mate before trying to jump the fence and find out you got a demon. So that is very true, Sister Shelly. And I know many of us have done that before, thinking that the grass was maybe greener on the other side, or maybe that the person that we with is with someone else. So, it's like one of those situations. It's one of those things. So it's like, just take your time, take your time. Traveler says you need to submit to your husband first. You need, oh, I'm sorry, travelers. I skipped over your question. Did you say most women looking for a man who has the bag already, women not looking for a startup? Well, travelers, listen, if the woman is in her 20s, if the man is in his 20s, then yeah, a startup is fine. But when you 30 plus travelers, when you 40 plus travelers, when you're 50 plus travelers, a startup is not where it's at. Now, there are some unique situations, but most women in their 30s and 40s, if she's in her 20s, yeah, she should be looking for a startup. If she's looking for a man that is that has himself together at 20 something plus years old, then I'm sorry, sweetie, you're not going to get that. But once this woman starts entering her late 20s and 30s, the guy should have some type of grass underneath his feet. I'm not trying to get with a 32-year-old and he like, yeah, so I gotta go get my bachelor's degree, and I gotta go do this, and then I gotta go do that, and then I gotta go do this, and then I gotta go do that. And it's like, okay, but that's gonna take you like 7-8 years to get all of this done. I can't, I ain't got that type of time. So you may not be the man for me. Now, there are situations where it would be applicable in that situation, right? I'm not talking about that, but what I'm saying in a nutshell is that if you are starting at 0 at 30, then no, a woman shouldn't have to be willing to be in a startup relationship. A woman willing to be in a startup relationship, she could be 18, 19. Once she starts hitting 20, 21, 22, maybe all the way up to 26. After 26, listen, sisters, no. And then you said you need to submit to your husband first. Yes and no. First of all, great word you use, husband. So that's why it's yes. But I don't want no one to take that as submit to your boyfriend, submit to the man courting you. No. A man courting you should see that you respect him. And then when he becomes your husband, that's when the submission takes place. You don't submit to a boyfriend. You don't submit to a courtship. You respect him. You respect him, and you show him that you respect him, and you're kind and you're patient, and you speak nicely, and you are, you voice your opinion, but you do it with grace. And sometimes it takes practice. You may not get it right the first time, but you just keep working, because that's the point. You're a work in progress. You're not a finished product. If you were a finished product, you'll be married, right? So you're a work in progress. So when you're being courted by a man, you don't submit to a man that's just courting you. You don't submit to a man that's just, you shouldn't have a boyfriend. But if that's your case, you submit to the man that's your husband, that chose you as his wife. That's who the submission goes to, the husband, not the boyfriend. You know? So, Tony Nixon says a man should always have a vision, a mission for his wife to submit to. And then he puts in parentheses, submission. So that is very true. That is very true. And thank you, Tony Nixon. That came from a man. That did not come from me. Tony Nixon is a man, and he's a married man. And he said a man should always have a vision and a mission for the wife to submit to. Submission. I think that's where some men get it lost. They want a woman to come into a courtship submitting to them. Absolutely not. Shelly says, travelers, you are right, because most women want a man who drives a nice car, has a big house, and has money. I always look for a man who loves God, because material things never matter to me. Amen, Shelly. That's a very good point. And that's not, and I know, like, that's exactly true. Now, there is a huge part of the internet that thinks that way. And I don't think anyone should just think that way. I don't think any sister should be thinking that way. What is do he have integrity? What's his mind and his heart like? Things like that. And then you always want to think about the 4 P's, protect, provide, provision, and if he has a purpose. Wishbone says that which you are still working on is one of the main reasons that men don't pursue women anymore, and they would rather hang out with their male friends or even seek relationships overseas. And if that works for them, then they should do that wholeheartedly. Hi, Paul. They should, and hey, Dorothy, they should do that. Because if you think a woman overseas is anything less than a woman in America, then you're so smart. Because I don't want to say the wrong thing. But yeah, it's easy. It's so easy to submit when someone has something that you want. It's not a problem. No problem. I was born here. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Of course it's easier for them to submit. So, he said, let me read to y'all again. He said, that which you are still working on is one of the main reasons why men don't pursue women anymore, and they would rather hang out with their male friends or even seek relationships overseas. And if you're new here, I said that I am working on having a meek and quiet spirit. I am working on, trusting more, feeling like I can trust a man in that way and stuff like that. That's a work in progress. And I don't hide that. And that's not a slight to me. If any man feels as if though, the woman is not something that he wants, then hey, go across the seas, go over the seas, go under the sea, and go find somebody that's going to be there for you. I think that that is something that, that's not, hey, that's something that, sometimes we have to think about the psychology and wonder why that is, rather than trying to slight someone because that is. But that's okay, because I know that I'm a whole lot better than what I used to be. That's for sure. Traveler says, are you looking for a husband? No, I am not looking for a husband. Dorothy Sims says, me being an older woman in holiness, honoring the law as taught by apostle, what in the world do we do when we don't want the attention from man? I'm divorced, not by choice, and governed by the law. Yeah, I don't know. It's nothing that you really can do. You dress modest, and you just, I mean, I'm saying it as a fact. You dress modestly. I know that. But all you can do, I mean, if you're an attractive woman, it's not really much you can do but decline the interest, right? Shelly said, I waited to get married until I was 40 because I wanted my own and didn't want anyone to say he had to take care of me. Very true. Well, I know that's true for you. And that's that. Yeah, I hear you. I'll say that. I hear you. Paul says hi. That he says he agrees with Bone. And he says, what gets me is no matter what status is FBA men are, rather financially stable or riding a bus, females in public overall rely on our protection. That's why I left that comment. Dorothy says she doesn't want our attention, but really she does. I'm not sure about that, Paul. I'm not sure. And if you don't know what an FBA man is, it's a foundational Black American, and what he is saying is that no matter what status a Black man are in, rather financially stable or riding a bus, women in public overall rely on their protection. And I think that I just have no answer. I have no response to that comment. Wishbone said, it's not a genetic thing, it's a cultural thing. If I went overseas, I would be seeking the cream of the crop, not settling for the American norm. Hey, go over there. No one's stopping you. If you have a passport and you want to go get you a foreigner as a wife, go over there. Hey, if that's what you want, go get what you want. No one's stopping you. You got your passport. She may be, hey, go get what you want. America become too emotional. Well, even that statement in itself is an emotional statement. Hi, Leonard, hi. Yeah, Tanya Bob, we wish you good luck, Wishbone. We wish you good luck. You can go over there and get you a more submissive woman that's willing to, come over here, meet you where you are, all of those things. Hey, go ahead. Nobody's stopping you. I don't think any of us are stopping you guys from going to go get what you want. If you want a foreigner, Go get her. I support you 100%. He said, I simply address what you've spent so much time talking and wondering about, which was what I spent so much time talking about it, and now I forgot what I was talking about. So you're gonna have to remind me. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Traveler says American men have become too emotional. Yes. I don't want to say yay or nay to that. Um, I don't want to say nay or yay to that. I think, to each his own. I was just, y'all, the conversation is, let's go back to the topic, okay? Because the conversation did kind of go left field. And I started responding to some of the comments, getting engagement in the comments. And y'all are doing too much in the comments. Y'all calm down. Y'all, it's only 8:38 a.m. It's 8:38 a.m. It's 8:38 a.m. EST. Relax. Okay, we doing too much. Okay, I just wanted to have a conversation. Sister Dorothy, we gonna pray for him. Paul, relax. Okay, Tanya, thank you. It's okay, y'all. We having a good conversation. This is a good conversation. The topic is courting dead or am I delusional? So Wishbone, let me read your comment because me and you having a good dialogue, and this is good. And Wishbone, please, I'm not offended by nothing that you're saying. I'm not. We're having a good conversation. You're throwing out some really great points. I'm responding to your points. We're having a good little, little tennis match, little ping pong, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're doing, right? So that's what we're doing. Okay, Sister Dorothy, thank you. So we're just having a good conversation. We're talking about relationships. We know in this time and this climate, things get a little sticky. So he said, okay, Elvira, it's all love, but this is a main topic offline. Yes, Paul, do I know you? You know me? You know me in a real life? Paul, I know you in real life? But yes. Okay. Yeah, but it is a huge conversation. It's a good conversation, and we can simmer on down. This is a good conversation. It really is. Many people have their thoughts and concerns on the topic. I just wanted to get the conversation started. And the conversation is courting dead or am I delusional? So, okay, well, welcome here, Paul. I'm glad to have you here. And yes, my name is Elvira, and this is EFP Media. So, we're going to get back to the conversation. So, Wishbone says, why men are often ignoring you and so many other North American females. That's what I've addressed. Okay, so yes, that is what you've been talking about. So Wishbone is making the point of saying that men that ignore women. Now, I'm not being ignored. If anything, I need to work on my communication skills to better suit and communicate better. But nonetheless, Wishbone is saying that the reason why American women are being ignored is because I guess he's alluding to the fact that we don't have a meek and quiet spirit. Therefore, men don't want to deal with us, which causes them to seek relationships overseas because overseas women are a little easier. And that's his perspective. And I have no pushback on that. Hey. The conversation is that many men aren't pursuing courtship like they pursue their masculine relationships. And the point that I was making is that a lot of men, today in today's times are more so looking like they'll rather hang out with their male friends than to hang out with a feminine companionship. So that is where the conversation kind of got a little, it got a little shaky, a little shaky. But yeah, so that's something that I've noticed, not just in a faith-based relationship, in society overall. Afton, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you here. Hi, I'm Elvira. This is EFP Media. Here we explore faith, wellness, personal growth, and journaling. Today we are having a topic on dating, and I guess I got it started early in the morning. But Afton says, I feel like Paul has never actually been overseas. And Afton, I'm just going to put this out there. Many of them who say they want to go get a woman overseas don't even have a passport. So, good luck with that. And good luck with leaving the country and coming back. Okay? Good luck with that. Okay? The way things are going, you might want to stay your behind over here in the States. I'm just saying. I ain't saying you can't go get her, but you might want to stay over here in the States until everything die down. Okay? You might want to stay over here. But after that is funny, and that is funny. That was funny, Paul. Come on. Paul, that was funny. Give him a break. It was funny. Paul said, you're right, but I do have a passport, so what's your point? Oh my God, hi. What time is it over there in Denmark? We're not going to call names, Paul. Come on. Come on. He said, I wouldn't go overseas to look for a relationship, so that comment was for no sense. Right. And then I don't think it was Paul that was saying that. That was Wishbone Afton. Wishbone was the one saying he would go overseas. Well, I didn't think he said he would go, but he said he sees why men go overseas. Okay. Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's like, Wishbone is pretty much saying he see why men go overseas, Social media. Yeah, thank you for being here. Yeah, no, it's fine. We try to keep things clean over here, okay? Like, this is a PG-13 YouTube channel, okay? So y'all can go to the other channels with that, but over here we try to keep it a little clean. That's no problem. But this is a good conversation. He says, I'm trying to go back. Yeah, I guess too much coffee. You said it's 14:45 here. It would be 2 p.m. I think in American time. Yes. Okay, so you're where are you located? Oh, I'm sorry, Denmark. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here from Denmark. This is amazing, guys. You said, Wishbone said, hopefully you know some of the reasoning for the things like MGTOW. I don't know what that acronym is for, what that means, and understand your value in the market. Also, don't assume all men are planning on bringing her back here. That's true. Some men go over there and they live over there. That's true. That's true. Some men don't want to live in America no more. They go over there to the other countries where they find their wives and they stay over there. So that's true, Wishbone. But can you tell me what the MGTOW means? I don't know what that means. And then you said, and understand your value in the market. That's true. That's true. Sounds like he got some Kevin Samuels talking points. He got some Kevin Samuels talking points. But Wishbone, like I said earlier, I have a strong belief in God, and I believe that whatever God has for me and who he has for me is going to find me, and whatever that means is what it means. So if God has the desire for me to have a man and have a husband, he's going to find me no matter what society says my value is in the market. And if a man feels that I am not up to par in his eyes, then I'm not the one for him. And that's okay. The two can mean the same thing. Like two things can exist at the same time. And Wishbone, you sound like a very smart man, so I'm sure you can I'm sure you understand that. So the two can exist at the same time for sure. For sure. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Thank you, Paul. Oh, thank you, Paul. I hope you come back when we have conversations like this. Listen, guys, I'm not easily offended at all. We can have deep conversation and you can have an opposing thought to me. It's not personal. It's just your thought. Long as you don't personally try to attack me, talk about me in a way that's discouraging. But as long as you're effectively communicating your point of view, how you feel, what's your thoughts, that's what Wishbone and I are doing right now. We're having a healthy dialogue. He's sharing with me his thoughts and where he stands on the conversation. And it's not a debate, but it's a good conversation. It really is. Afton says, I'm from Kentucky, not ghetto, just hillbilly. Oh my goodness. Afton, you so funny. I've never been to Kentucky. Tony Nixon says, I have my passport, but I found my beautiful black wife right here in the States, and we go overseas together. I know that's right, Tony Nixon. That's beautiful. Lena says, I think that these gender wars in America has gone too far. Lena, it has. It has. It really has. And that was the point of the conversation, where these gender wars have gotten to the place where now men aren't really courting like they used to, because women, we're not who we used to be. And I wish that, like when you're at a party, and let's say we're all at a get together and we all, back in the day, maybe it's like a mixer where you have the men on one side and the women on the other side, and no one's talking to each other. No one's talking to each other. The women are chatting up with themselves, and the men are chat with themselves, and no one's talking to each other. So like this live is a representation of people talking to each other. And it's nothing wrong with having a brotherhood and a sisterhood. We have that in our faith. But it is, if you're striving to be a wife, if you're striving to be a husband, sometimes you're going to have to subtract some of that time from your sisterhood and your brotherhood and the pursuance of courtship with a person that you may want to be your wife. and vice versa for the women. You know, though we don't go out here choosing, like one of the brothers in the chat, Travelers, he asked me, was I looking for a husband? I'm not looking for a husband, because scripture teaches me that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So I'm not looking, but would I like to be married? Yes, I would. So with that being said, when the man finds me and finds me to be a good thing, then I would naturally blend and it will become a thing, which is what I'm trying to explain to Wishbone. No, I don't just naturally come off and submit to a man. A man has to earn my trust. A man has to become my husband, and I have to respect him, to give, to provide, to submit to him. That's something that's a process. I don't just go into a relationship or a courtship or any type of relationship just automatically submitting. That goes against scripture. It says, wives, submit unto your husband. So if I don't have a husband, I'm submitting to God and God only, you know. So that's where I go with the conversation. And that's where I'm going. That's the point that I'm making, Wishbone, is that no, if I was a wife, yes, I would be submissive. I would have to, you know, bite my tongue, barter my lips more, and I would kind of take a step back and analyze things deeper. But that's something that takes practice. Practice makes perfect. So do I go into a courtship with that mindset? Absolutely. I practice. But will there be times in marriage and in courtship where I feel passionate about a topic and I express myself? As long as I'm not getting disrespectful, I should be entitled to that courtesy, you know. So that's where I go with the conversation, Wishbone, if you're still listening. But I do agree with you, and I hope you do tell me what the MGTOW means. But I'm going to be wrapping up the show. I thank you all that's newly subscribed to the channel. This was a good conversation. Not that I got it started. So Lena says, it's a split between men and women. Just love each other. Amen. Same with black and white, straight and well, you know, Lena, you said it seems as you guys are being put against each other instead of being united. Well, Lena, that's what it seems like, and I wonder why that is, you know. Paul says, question, when at work, I'm cautious about the harassment rules, so I give no females the choice to say I've made them uncomfortable. That's a very good practice to work by and work with. Work with Paul. I recommend that you do that. Get to know somebody. And you know what, Paul, that's a really good point. Many men today are worried about that because so many women have misused the power of policy procedures and, you know, used it against men in a negative way. So with that, you know, I just hope that, you know, you kind of have a rapport with a woman before. Yes, many have been lied on. Correct, Paul. Many innocent men have been lied on, and which has caused many men to be a little bit more reserved in the way of pursuing a woman. So I do understand that, Paul, 100%, 100%. And I think that is why many men don't really approach women these days. Or not only that, but women today, they get on social media and try to clown a man. Or if a man tries to shoot his shot at a woman in the DMs, they take a screenshot and post it on YouTube, or post it on TikTok or Instagram, and be like, oh, look at this guy, he's so thirsty. And it's like, geez, like, you guys, you're making it hard for people out here, okay? So that's the point. It said, at least it looks like that from the outside perspective, as we don't have these issues. No, you're right, Lena. And it's interesting enough, because if you can see it in another country, imagine how it feels living in the country and experiencing that. It's just sad. It's really sad. And, you know, hopefully we can just allow this to kind of just decrease and move on. Um, Paul says, so I don't speak unless this female coworker speak first, and if as in if she wants you to speak to her, she will let you know, i.e. by her speaking first. Yes. And I was talking to my friend, and he said that to me. He said, well, just, you know, if he was sharing that it's okay to speak to a guy first. It's not, you don't look thirsty, don't look like you're shooting your shot, you're just speaking, and open it up for conversation in that way. Hey, Christopher Wright. So that's okay. Christopher Wright says, does God have a desire for you to be healthy, yet you still go to the doctor for checkups or watch what you eat? Faith without works is dead. Absolutely. That's a good point. And I hope we all working on ourselves. I hope we all working on ourselves. Afton says, I pray God sends you a good husband. When you find a godly man that truly understands how to lead, being submissive comes easy. Thank you, Afton. That is the point. That is the point. And I think many think that submission should just be given out like you give away roses. And that's not the case, you know. So that's not the case. You gotta be able to um you got to be able to earn that. You got to be able to show that you have leadership skills. Like when a man steps into that role in your life, the submission actually comes natural. It's not something that a woman has to think about. It's something that she naturally goes into because she was created to be in that position, you know. So therefore it's something that naturally comes about. But Lena, thank you so much from Denmark. Thank you. You said, I'm going to go catch my chicken. It flew in my neighbor's garden. Okay, enjoy. Lena, go get your chicken, girl. Well, Paul, all of my new subscribers, thank you all so much. I hope you guys stick around for more conversations. FYI, I am a faith-based channel, so a lot of my conversations does come from a perspective of seeking God first, but it does not mean that we can have a regular conversation about societal issues. So we talk about that. I will be co-hosting with my friend Life with Paulette on Sunday at about 5:30 p.m. EST. We'll be talking about parenting with children with special needs. I think it's a really great topic for us to chat about. So once I get the details of that, you will see it available on my channel. I thank you all for being here. Please like the video on your way out. I love you guys so much. Thank you for supporting me and my channel. This was a really good conversation. I did not mean, listen, I was not on one side of the coin. Okay, I was not on one side of the coin. I'm just giving a perspective that I see. And as we see in the chat, many others have really great perspectives that they share. It was all healthy communication. Paul Sharp said, much needed in the FBA community. Absolutely. For those of you that are not aware, FBA stands for Foundational Black American, which is exactly what I am. My ancestors are, so that's for sure. Christopher Wright. So I just finished doing DoorDash this morning. We've been on live since about 7 a.m. So we've been on live for quite a little bit. So we're logging off. We've been on since like 7 this morning, Chris. And we're logging off. But thank you for showing up, brother. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Tanya Bond. Thank you to my mods. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to everyone that pulled up. Logging off, yes. Tony Nixon says, no. Paul says, I'm from LA, California, 323 FBA first. Okay. Wishbone said, see James 2:26. That man is probably not going to knock on your door. You don't know that. You don't know that, Wishbone. You don't know that. Tony Nixon said, I agree, Afton. When I rightfully took my place, it made it easier for my wife. Amen, Tony Nixon. That's a married man. Dorothy Sims says, I got this Muslim man chasing me, expecting me to drop my holiness expression inwardly and outwardly to satisfy his flesh, saying, I know you wanted continued harassment constantly. Submission, no. Absolutely not. That ain't okay. That is not okay. That is not okay. Oh, by the way, I read KJV. By the way, I only read KJV. I don't read nothing else, okay? But that's right. That's right. So Wishbone, you're absolutely right. I don't know who you trying to talk to, but we get the point, right? We get it. Like faith without works is dead. So that's why I said earlier in the conversation, when you leave the house, when you walk around like women, we should always be we should be our best selves at all times, if that is what you desire. So that's true. Oh, Shelly, you back? We about to go, sis. We about to go. We about to go. Y'all, I hope y'all come back and leave a comment on the video. I hope I get a I be late all the time. Oh, you're fine. What I miss? Girl, nothing. Wishbone told us that faith without work is dead. So don't be thinking that man gonna come knock on your door. But I said he don't know that. He don't know that. He might be the Amazon guy. He might be my neighbor. He might see me taking out my trash. He might see me going to the mailbox. As with most things in life, you have to exert your faith. Why would finding a potential mate be any exception? I know, that's exactly what I'm saying. You have to get out. You have to go. You have to, like I said, I might go to my mailbox and meet the love of my life. I might go to Walmart and meet the love of my life. I might go to Waffle House and meet the love of my life. I might go to Walmart and meet the love of my life. I might go to work and meet the love of my life. I might be at the stoplight and meet the love of my life. I might be at the dumpster and meet the love of my life. I can meet him anywhere. But he lives with his mom. Who lives with their mom? Child. And you know what? That's a good point. Because some people do be living with their mama. I used to live with my mama. God has somebody for everybody. That's right, Shelly. So Wishbone is saying, don't expect that man to just be come knocking on your door. You got to get up. You got to get out the house. You got to go do something with yourself. That's what Wishbone's saying. Yeah, I might be that. There you go, Tony Nixon. I might be dashing. I might be dashing. And he'd be like, oh, what's up? Give me a little extra tip. Slide his number in the text thread. You don't know. Obviously, I'm not at the house. Obviously, Wishbone, I know Wishbone is not talking to me, y'all. But obviously, I'm not at the house. I'll be outside. I might meet him going to pick up the food, you know. So we always want to look presentable and nice and always. But with that being said, let's all just say goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. This was a good conversation, y'all. Thank you to everybody who joined in on the conversation. It's 9 o'clock here. You said, why are you talking about probably won't happen in 10 lifetimes? Okay, Wishbone, you are so mean. Wishbone is so mean. Are you married? Do you have a girlfriend? Like, Like, what is the point? You have no idea where I live. You have no idea what I do for a living. You have no idea. But he said you talking about probably won't happen in 10 lifetimes. You have no idea. Where do you live? He might live in the backwoods somewhere. That's why he said it's probably not going to happen. Let's go to his page. Let's see what's on Wishbone's channel, y'all. Let's go to his channel. Okay. Okay, Wishbone, you got some ET up here. You got some Eric Thomas up here. Okay. All right. You got some Larry Elder up here. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. He got that Kevin Samuels on his playlist. Okay. He got that Kevin Samuels on that playlist. He got that Dave Ramsey up here. Uh-oh. He got a little Public Enemy up here too, y'all. Hey. Got a little oldies jam up here. Star Point. Okay. All right, Wishbone. All right, I'll give it to you. You know a little something, something. You know a little something, something. You got the little Peace Network up here. What's wrong? Okay, you be in these YouTube streets. Yeah, I know about these people. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So Wishbone stands on what he stands on. Because he's been getting coaching. See? Here we go. Why Western men are getting passports. Hey, Sister Dina Cole. Why Western men are getting passports. No wonder, Wishbone. Gotcha. Do you have your passport? Wow. Let's keep going, y'all. Let's keep going. There we go. Oh, you got a little Anton Daniels on here. We got a little Anton Daniels on here. I like Anton. I support his channel too. I support Anton's channel too. Legend. Quiet. Okay. So the first video on here is Eric Thomas success routine. So, you know, I've been listening to Eric Thomas for quite a while, since I was like in college. So Wishbone got 2 playlists on his YouTube channel. He got priorities, and then he has financial, which he just updated today. He just updated this this playlist today. Yeah, there you go. 5 stay-at-home side hustles you can do now. Yeah, so Wishbone know a little something, something. Wishbone knows a little something, something. That's why he can stand on what he speak on. Okay, Wishbone, well, shout out to you. Thank you for supporting my channel. You know, Wishbone. Is it Wishbone? Or is it Wishbone Nail? Wishbone Nail 7. He said, I know what I witnessed by watching you. I don't try to duck or dodge the absolute truth that has been here since the very beginning of time. I am right of center on the political spectrum. That's your perspective. You said you know what you think you know what you, he said, I know what I've witnessed. So that's what he said. But good perspective to have. We see you know a little something something. You know a little something something. You know a little something something. So shout out to you. Thank you for your comments and your commentary. And thank you for all of your thoughts and everything. Thank you. Oh my goodness, this is hilarious. Anyway, y'all, when we are ending out the show, hit the like button. We need one more like. Let's get 30 likes. Hit the like button. Wishbone, I hope you liked the video after all of that talking you done did. I hope you liked the video. Now, mind you now, I just got up, got ready, did my routine, and then put on this t-shirt and this hat. So now it's time to get ready to go. Are we gonna hit one more like? Can we get one more like? If not, it's all good. We had a good conversation. God bless you all. Thank you all for joining in on the conversation. I will see you all on Saturday. He said, you talking about being God-fearing, yet do you really mean what you say and say what you mean? That is a narrow and difficult path. I mean, that's up to you, Wishbone. I've been in my faith. I've been walking this walk for a long time. And you know what, Wishbone? It is a very narrow path. The scripture teaches us that. So while that might not be the path for you, it's the path for me. And even putting limitations on that way of thinking is putting limitations on God. So I'm not sure if we serve the same God, but the God I serve is limitless. So while you may have a cardinal way of thinking, I don't think that way. I believe that the Most High God, the one true living God, is the one that would provide all things unto me, because he's been doing that for me since I've been here. So yes, I stand 10 toes down for my faith. And you may not believe me. You might think, that's a bunch of baloney. That's on you. That's on you. That's on you. And don't show off. You don't want God to make a liar out of you, now do you? You don't want God to make a liar out of you, now do you? Because he'll take pleasure in that. You have chosen that same path, and don't just talk about it. Oh my gosh. He's new here, guys. He's not used to our channel. He's not used to our channel. So he don't understand. He don't get it. He don't get it. Anyway, what she say? What Shelly say? I want a man I date to bring me roses and take me out every month on a date. It could be a walk in the park. Yeah, simple stuff. Simple stuff. But yeah, all right, we made it to 33 likes. Thank you. Thanks, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and go. I ain't gonna talk to Wishbone no more. He done got enough of our attention. All right, y'all. Bye.